Okay, my name is Marketing Professor Tom Elmer. I run Marketing Muscle Consultancy Group, and we're going to talk about small business marketing in this presentation. Mark Schaefer said this: marketing is about psychology, sociology, and anthropology. It's about all things human. Highly recommend his book, Marketing Rebellion, because he talks about human-centered marketing. And if you think about it, that's the only kind of marketing that makes sense, right? Because customers are why your business exists, to find them and to keep them. And they're human. So we're in the human marketing business. A postmortem of 101 startup failures. Top 20 reasons why determined most were marketing related. No market need, outcompeted, price, cost issues, unfriendly products, bad business model, poor marketing, ignored customers, product was mistimed. See what happens in just 1 minute from 1 year to the next on the internet. You can get a copy of these slides by sending an email to me at tom@marketingmusclellc.com, and I'll send them to you. This presentation, I'm going to talk about three things: an introduction to modern marketing, strategy, and situational analysis. February 2021 is as perfect as it gets. Look at this wonderful setup. You don't need to take notes, as I mentioned before. If you send me an email, I'll send you the slides. If you have any questions, you could also send me an email to that same address and I'll respond. I'm a academic. That is someone who is an academic as well as been actively practicing their subject, the area that they work in. For me, I got my MBA in marketing, technology, and e-commerce. Spent 25 years in the corporate world, held those titles: VP of marketing, VP of sales, down to director of marketing, director of sales, down to working my way up to those titles, primarily in automotive parts. Worked over 10 years in small business, working with small businesses, consulting to small businesses, doing sales, marketing, customer service. I'm a SCORE mentor. I'm a consultant. I run my own promotional product business, and I teach all different marketing classes at the undergraduate and MBA level. You get an email from me. This is what you'll find in the signature. The intellectual roots of our work lies in the rich soil of marketing science, not in the shallow, distorted, abused, and sloppy concept of marketing fads. It's all about marketing science. And pretty much when I found this book, How Brands Grow by Byron Sharp, I read that. I read the second version of How Brands Grow Part 2, and Distinctive Brand Assets by Jenny Romanek. All three of those books blew me away. I was stuck in old world views. I was given bad advice, teaching bad things. But I've changed that. I am now a scientific marketer committed to it. Now, science is hitting all kinds of fields like cooking. This book, The Food Lab, New York Times bestseller, it's about how you can do better home cooking through science. Now, my Italian grandma, Nana Castellano, didn't follow recipes. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. That was her opinion. She was the chef, the queen of the kitchen. It was not a scientific approach to cooking. I couldn't duplicate it. I didn't know a little of what, little of that. Rather, science approach to cooking is testing, charting results, figuring out how to replicate successful outcomes. I also believe an ethical person states their biases up front. So, not in any specific order, but I believe there are no silver bullets in marketing, no guaranteed anything that will bring about success. It's a long game. You don't just do it short term and expect big results. You can't fix broken strategy by tweaking tactics. You must test for success. No one can guarantee anything will work exactly as it's supposed to. If they do, turn around and run. You need sales activation in the short term and brand strategy in the long term. Content that's interesting to you might not be interesting to your audience. Marketing is multiplicative. Stages all work together, but not necessarily in order. My friend Sam Brealey says that. He's the marketing consultant I recommend for small and medium-sized businesses. Cash flow is the driver of small business marketing. Marketing's purpose is to make you more money, help you find and retain customers. Here's a fact: world-class design will not save crappy content, crappy products, crappy services from being crappy. And by the way, if your prospects don't see it, can't find you, you're done. Strategy is worthless if you don't act on it. Advertising worthless if the ad's generic, confusing, has too many messages. Traffic coming to your website's worthless if you can't convert it. Collecting contact information is worthless. You treat everyone the same, just like a lead. Spending money is worthless if you don't base it first on a situational analysis. Then you have a strategy based on that situational analysis. Then you have a tactical plan based on that strategy, based on that situational analysis. In 2015, Adobe found, when surveying CMOs and VPs of marketing, 76% said marketing changed more in the last 2 years than all the years since the birth of television. Now, this certainly brings home the point. Look at how television has changed, the actual product of the television. Don Draper, Mad Men from the 1960s, the Pepsi generation, up to 2020. HubSpot came out here saying, there's all these different ways that customers can find us to become customers. Read multiple blog posts, search on Google, sign up for the weekly newsletters, follow all these. This is how marketing has changed because of the internet. And by the way, the answer to every question is not prefixed with digital. Digital is just one part of the P called promotion. It's not the answer to everything. Look, the truth is, it has never been easier to start a business than today. You need a laptop, you need a internet connection, and boom, you're in business. But it's also never been harder to sustain and grow a business than it is today. Neil Blumenthal of Warby Parker said the same thing. It's never been cheaper to start a business, although harder to scale it up. We know the Fortune 500 companies now last on average 20 years. In the 50s, it was 60 years. When I was a college marketing student, we studied Fortune 500 companies. This disruptive force of technology kills off companies faster than ever before. Look, I've worked for big companies. Big marketing priorities include make the board of directors happy, make the shareholders happy, keep all the many bosses happy, satisfy your customers' preconceived expectations, win awards for your advertising, get buy-ins from committees and state. Oh, and by the way, make a profit. Small business top 3 marketing priorities. Number 1 is stay in business. 2, make a profit after covering costs. 3, survive the global pandemic. Dave Gearhart Marketing Group at BGMG on Twitter. He pulled this slide from Jay Abraham. So these are the 3 ways to grow the business. Get more customers, increase the average transaction, increase customers' frequency and transactions. Now, I had this slide way before I got that one from Dave. 3 ways to make money. There really are 3 ways. Increase number of clients, increase size of the sale per client, increase the number of times they come back and buy more. Now, this article is a must read. It's not pinned to Samuel's Twitter feed anymore, but if you send him an email or reach out to him, I know he'll send it to you. I recommend this as the place to start for all of my clients in my free marketing help programs. But he's the only, if you need help and you want to hire a marketing consultant, I trust him. I know he knows his stuff. He's not going to rip you off. He's my guy. So his questions are these 5 questions. Where are you now? Where are you going? Where do you want to get to? How are you going to get there? And how do we ensure success? Now, this is the grandfather of modern marketing to me, Peter Drucker, management professor. In 1954, he said there is only one valid definition of a business purpose. A business exists for one reason, to create a customer. And as a result of this purpose, the enterprise has 2 and only 2 functions: innovation and marketing. That's it. Everything else is a cost. He further expanded upon that principle in 1973 when he said marketing is so basic it cannot be considered a separate function. That is, a department down the hall, a separate skill, a type of work within your business. Rather, it is the whole business seen from the customer's point of view. Or as David Packard says, marketing is just too important to be left to the marketing department. Here is customer-centric marketing from a company based or product-centric company based, and the differences in the strategy, structure, process, rewards, and people taken from the book Aligning the Customer-Centric Organization. My friend Grant Laboff defines marketing this way in his great book, Myths of Marketing. It's the process of determining, communicating, delivering value in order to obtain and retain customers. Rohit Bhargava, who we worked with on his book webinar last spring, several of my graduates. Marketing is how you share the story of your business with the world to inspire belief and encourage action. It is the two-way conversation between you and your customers. Caitlin says the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing. The best marketing entertains, educates, inspires, delights. Just don't market. Just don't sell me. Or as Dave Gearhart pointed out, B2C is selling to people. B2B is selling to people that work at a company. It's still all selling to people. Ryan Dice took it a little further. B2C is selling to people looking to be entertained or looking to identify, to reinforce their identity. Small to medium-sized businesses and B2B are selling to people looking for transformation and improvement. Selling to B2B enterprise, you're selling to people with budgets that are looking to spend these things to fix problems, solve problems, but not get fired for picking your choices, your solutions. Dave Gearhart says people might not understand your product, but they do understand stories, analogies, examples, so you can get them to understand your product. Kotler's book 4.0. Now, a lot of marketers in this country say he's the father of modern marketing. I don't agree. But he did pretty much lay out what marketing is all about. Marketing is about science and art. It's about exploring, creating, and delivering value, satisfying needs of a target market at a profit. It identifies unfulfilled needs and desires, defines, measures, quantifies the size of the identified market, profit potential, pinpoints the segments that we can serve best, designs, promotes appropriate products and services, and all these important things are involved. Segmentation, targeting, positioning, needs, wants, demands, offerings, brands, values, satisfaction, exchange, transactions, relationships, networks, marketing channels, supply chain, competition, environment, and programs. Woo, that's a mouthful. In marketing-driven management, we know that customers are throughout the new marketing concept, all 15 points, creating focus throughout the business, listening to the customer, finding the market, targeting customers precisely, making their value the guiding star, letting them define loyalty, building relationships, committing to continuous improvement, growing, destroying bureaucracy. Look, they asked Willie Sutton, hey, Willie, why did you rob banks? In fact, it became the title of his book. Because that's where the money is, he said. Roberto Consuela of Coca-Cola was asked, why do we have marketing? Answer: to make money. Marketing is a strategic action and discipline focused on getting customers to buy more of your company, what your company makes, so your company makes more money. It's an investment focused on results, not activities. And too often, that's all people get caught up with is activities. But what is the results? How well is it working? And by the way, Consuela, he wasn't the smartest guy around because he was involved with the whole concept of the new Coke. When Coke came out to announce they're getting rid of the 100+ years formula, coming out with a sweeter version because they were getting killed by the Pepsi challenge. Well, customers were furious. You can't do that. Flooded with phone calls, letters, bad press. Just 2 months later, they said Coke Classic was coming back. New Coke even made it in the Stranger Things. Look, this guy is the father of modern marketing to me. Ed Levitt wrote what's called the most important marketing contribution in the past 25 years, marketing myopia, marketing nearsightedness. Ted pointed out, look, the railroads didn't stop growing because the need for passengers and freight went away. It's not true. It grew. The railroads let others take their customers away because they assume they're in a railroad business, not the transportation business. They asked Henry Ford Henry Ford said if people asked him what they wanted, they would have said just a faster horse. Why didn't the railroad design this? Why didn't the railroad figure out cars, trucks, or buses, or whatever? Sports Illustrated thought they were in a magazine business, not the sports information business. Because if they did, we might be watching sports information TV tonight for the highlights of the Super Bowl. Ted said the purpose of a business is to create, and here's the key, and keep a customer. Peter Drucker said it was to create it, but retention is most important. Ted also pointed out, what business are we really in terms of what the customer is buying? For example, he said they're not buying a drill, they're buying a hole to hang a shelf. Michelin tire buyers aren't buying a tire, they're buying safety because so much is riding on your tires. Rolex buyers aren't buying a watch, they're buying luxury. Nike isn't sold just to world-class athletes. Certainly that is true, but they're also selling to me and you for motivation. Dave Gerhardt said Zoom was all about making video communication frictionless. Shopify arms rebels against Amazon. Salesforce was the elimination of legacy software. Bezos, famous for his obsession with the customer, rumored to have put a chair in every meeting he's in that represents the customer because the customer can't be there. He's the one that said our brand is who customers say we are when we leave the room. They asked the guy at the bait store, do fish really take these lures? He responded, I don't know. I don't sell to fish. Marketing is a contact sport, and you should know your customers in and out. You should be on the phone, meeting, talking intimately, what wakes them up at night, what their challenges are. This article, How CEOs Manage Time from 2 years ago, is disgusting. CEOs spend just 3% of their time talking to customers. How can you do that? Commercial impact of marketing, as illustrated by Dan White in the must-buy book, Smart Marketing. Move the value up. Here are the 8 ways you can drive profits. Premium pricing, trade loyal customers up to a higher price, lower cost of goods, lower marketing costs, steal competitive users, get loyalty users to buy more, enter new markets, find new ways and uses for the brands. You can see this slide. Here's 34 sources of client value. Look at these. Find ways or sources that you can employ in your business. Marketing inspires, sales convinces. Look under the surface of the logo as they drive by your store is your brand, everything that you do. As Dave Gerhardt put this slide up at Join DGMG, showing the value of Apple's brand. They released these last year at the price of twice 2 headphones of Bose. Brilliant. He created the iPod because he wanted 10,000 songs. Now he has 60 million songs on a phone, moved to your wrist. Their philosophy was simple in 1977, 3 things: empathy, focus, impute. Look how that strategy played out in 2020, just with AirPods, 18 billion. Number 1 most valuable brand in the world, 323 billion. Amazon so far behind, 200 billion. This is how I define my class. Marketing strategy is the blueprint by which the firm plans to compete. So what is your blueprint? How are you competing? Competitive strategy is about being different by choosing a set of activities to deliver a unique mix of value. As Mike Tyson put it, everybody has a strategy till they get hit in the mouth. That word comes from the battlefield in ancient Greece, meaning general or someone who has an army. In the art of war, Sun Tzu said all men can see tactics, but none can see the strategy out of which the victory is evolved. Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. And all the times I see clients come in to talk, where's your marketing plan? I don't have one. I want to talk about doing Facebook ads or Google. No, that's defeat. Got to have strategy. Strategy answers these questions. Where should we compete and how? We choose a landscape in our choice of our business model and the things that we do to sustain it. We're driving to competitive advantage. The route, how we get there, the route is strategy. The vision is the where, the destination we're headed to, and the tactics are the turn-by-turn directions. Remember this difference between objective strategy and tactics with Helen of Troy. The objective was get Helen back. Strategy was deception. The tactic was the wooden horse. Look, essentially, strategy comes down to one question. What can we do that is really hard? What can we do that is exceptional, that people can't duplicate? What can we do that is so hard, everyone else has a tough time doing it? This article in Harvard Business Review about the futurist framework for strategic planning was a good one, because tactics pretty much sit in that 1 to 2 years. Strategy sits out as a 2 to 5 year direction. Vision, 5 to 10 years. Systems, 10 years. Every year, you got to have a plan. My MBA professor put it in one sentence. Either differentiate your products and services so much so that your customers and prospects pick you over every option, or else you better be the lowest price around because you're a commodity. Turns out that was Michael Porter who came up with that. The 3 generic strategies: cost leadership, AKA Walmart, through operational excellence; differentiation, AKA Apple; and focus on niche markets. There's so many. Lastly, I also believe customer intimacy is a good overarching strategy. 2 key questions. What are your key target markets in order of priority? What are they? And in those key markets, what is your source of differential advantage? You got to have them. Differentiation it's the essence of competition. And as Frank Perdue showed, he fed his chickens yellow marigold seed, like yellow seeds, and it caused their skin to be much yellower in the case. And it caused people to buy his chicken over store brand. He differentiated dead chickens. You can differentiate anything. For example, I saw that we are spending 43 days sitting on hold. You answer your phone, you are differentiating yourself. This is how I use this chart from Harvard Business, is how I form marketing strategy. It's involved of analysis, the 5 C's, analysis of your company, your competition, your customer, collaborators, and context. I can help you with this. Send me an email. Aspiration, segmenting, targeting, positioning, moves into action planning, the value creating keys of product, promotion, and price. The last, value capturing price, promotion, place, and product create value. Only price captures it. When you step in my class as a principal student, I always say, you already know about marketing. From the lemonade stand, the P for product called lemonade, for the P called price, 25 cents. The P called place, your driveway. The P called promotion, your sign. This comes from Jerome McCarthy as the mastermind behind it, and it still works. I still teach it. I still believe in it, but there's been an expansion of it. Product, what it is that you deliver to that your customer pays for. Place, where and how they buy it. Price, where do sales and profits fit best? At what point? Promotion, how are we communicating? Grant LeBoff's cave model, expansion of 4 P's through communication, accessibility, value, and experience. I'll send these slides to you. You can read it. I'm not going to read it to you, but Byron Sharp said, since he wrote How Brands Grow, essentially YouTube is a big global TV station. Facebook and Instagram are all print and display, and all the other traditional sites are online. So essentially, media has gotten easier. The 4 A's of Jag Seth: acceptability, affordability, accessibility, and awareness. This is also something to consider as you put your strategies together. I'm not going to read these to you. You send me an email, send these slides. Acceptability, affordability, accessibility. Robert Wood put it this way: Coke should always be an arm's length from desire and awareness. Steve Jobs' untimely death was an exclamation point on this point. Most precious thing we have is time. We only get 24 hours a day. Since we were cavemen, we still have only got 24 hours a day, and yet marketers are trying to grab our attention. We're fighting everybody out there. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPad, he talked about how extraordinary it was. Browse the web, mail, photos, music. Everyone should own an iPad, he said, except he refused to let his kids use the device because he knew how addictive it was. Infinite media. That's how the marketing vice president of Salesforce has described it in this wonderful book about how content marketing has changed. The human attention span is dropped to only 8.25 seconds. That's right. A goldfish is 9 seconds. Daniel Kahneman said thinking is some of the hardest work there is. That's why so few people do it. Your brain represents just 2% of your body weight, 20% of your calories. But when you're thinking, your burn goes to 40%. That's why we are fighting for attention in the three places that our consumers are finding themselves. In farming, when they're not worried, they can have more attention. When they're in the fight or the flee, look, getting attention is the start. Then this is like my students. Once you get their attention, how do you get their focus? Staring at their phones in class. Importance. This is from Jaws. When there's a shark attack, that's all you can think about. Nothing is ever as important as you think it is when you're thinking about it. This whole idiotic idea, if you build it, you will come. It's from the old days of, build a better mousetrap, will beat a path to your door. No, it doesn't work that way. For example, you build a website, will they come? Not necessarily. Optimize it for rank and visibility, clarify your brand, nurture your following, develop your strategies, and then they may come. As far as tactics, here is absolute truth. Your brand doesn't need to be on every social network. One of the worst things social media did was to convince people that marketing is free. That's what Matt Philblock says. Never free. Grant Robertson talks about this. Who is the enemy that your customer is fighting? Starbucks' enemy is the hectic life. Starbucks is that moment of escape between home and work. There's no children's playground, no loud screams, just leather seats and music, and the cool kid knows your name. Your customer's enemy, Volvo. You buy a Volvo to protect yourself against those crazy Jersey and Philly drivers. So if we can understand customers' pain, we can reach their emotional need states. Again, Grant Robertson, send me an email and I'll send you the titles. Look, here's the challenge in a cartoon. Looking through the glasses, blah, 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 blah. We don't see those other brands. We see the usual brand and the one that's on sale. We're fighting Amazon with bananas. Again, start with the 5 questions. By the way, how did the Brady Brunch get Zoom in the 70s? I want to know that. Amazon gives us some insights that you can take to your business. What moves the needle in the field? Is the customer being well served? How do we serve the customer better? Do we have a differentiated approach? How do we be more differentiated? Competence. Again, marketing moves the value up. Study how businesses make money. The lifetime value of a loyal customer. Ansoff's growth strategy. Look at markets, new and existing. Look at products, new and existing, and you have opportunities. Remember, the marketing works for a small business startup. It's different than marketing that works for a large corporation. That difference that works for a mid-sized B2B company. Marketing is not one size fits all. And if you worry about people first, you can always learn tactics. That's easy. Again, here's the real ROI of a brand. If they don't know about you, if they don't think about you, if you don't own any space in their brains, you're going to be behind. Make these 11 P's part of what you do: your personality, perception, people, product, performance, positioning, promotion, promise, place, price, philosophy. Align the mix around price points from luxury, premium, mid-price, and budget. Excellent. Again, get this book, Smart Marketing. Well, this is what marketing looks like when a bunch of people get together to try to design it. It's a waste. Use your best marketer and let them go do their thing. Here's the key performance indicators: financial, customer metrics, and perceptions. You need them. Again, product-centric versus customer-centric in designing the customer-centric organization. This comes from Professor Peter Fader's must-read book, Customer Centricity. If you know what the customers that come back, how often they come back, how much they spend, you know their value. Figure it out. Gross margin, 70%. Revenue in a year, 10,000. Churn, you lose them 16%. 70 divided by 16%, 43,750. That's your lifetime customer acquisition cost. You have to know it. Total monthly sales and expenses divided by number of customers that month. Customer has acquisition costs, total expenses, new customers, 10,000. Read this slide, take a picture. How to be more customer centric. Recommend you listen to this Marketing Today podcast, Alan Hart, June 26th. It's about brand diagnosis. He breaks it out into these things: location, heritage, founders, secondary data, raving fans, focus group surveys. Situational analysis answers these questions. You need to get an idea of what's going on. For example, during the past 2 years, what methods were most effective in attracting new clients? Which were most effective in gaining business from existing clients? You have to understand the competitive environmental factors, new entrants, rivalry amongst existing firms, threat of substitute products, bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers. When I was a caterer, threat of new entrants, anybody with a business card could do it. Rivalry, intense. Substitute products, people could buy their own stuff and do their own catering. Bargaining power of buyers, huge. Bargaining power of suppliers, for example, such as Cisco, huge. If you wanted to get good quality products, they own the market. You have to understand your buyer persona. Get this book, Buyer Personas. What is the priority in buying your stuff? Is it important? Is it nothing? Not success factors. What describes success? Perceived barriers, buyer's journey, decision criteria. You need to know these things. What do your customers say? Unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. You want to get to the engagers up there at the top. SWOT analysis, opportunities, threats, strengths, and weaknesses. Use it. I prefer the TALS analysis, where you break out internal strengths and weaknesses up with external opportunities and threats. I come out with maxi, mini strategies. SMART insights, race planning, plan, reach, act, convert, engage. Again, I can help you with these. PESTLE, political, economic, social, technical, environment, legal. WPSFT, who is your audience? What's the problem in the way? What solution are we providing? How do you want them to feel? What's the transformation like? Job to be done. You hire a product. Why? They asked, why are you drinking a milkshake? What are you hiring it for? I have a boring commute. 40% of McDonald's customers were doing that because to save time from the boring commute. Knowing that I'm hiring a car to help me get to my destination, that's where Uber comes in. Hire a cup of coffee for these reasons. You break it out. Starbucks has these competitors, how you compete, how you innovate, market size, trends. One-page marketing plan is a must-read book. It breaks it to these 9 boxes: your target market, message, media, lead capture system, lead nurturing strategy, and lead conversion, world-class experience, customer lifetime value, and referrals. Alan says, don't ever market without a plan. Don't just focus on your product. Don't hire the cheapest. Don't micromanage. Don't ignore goal setting, and don't forget about systems. Every small business should buy that book. Every small business should buy Grant's book. I believe Cash Flow Surge will tell you how to find money to do marketing and build a better business plan is great. Here's 3 budget formulas I'm going to throw in. Small Business Administration says 7 to 8%. Partner says 11%, and Amazon spent 25%. And who's number 1? They are. If you need help with digital marketing, get this book. It'll show you step by step how to do it. If you're in nonprofit, buy this book. Small business marketing, it's getting a little old, but it's a good one still. SCORE. Find SCORE in your town, reach out to them. They are wonderful resources. The Smart Marketing book, I've referred to it throughout this presentation, must. Closing with Mark Rich's small business advice from an interview he did on marketers. I forget my mind just went blank. Find something no one else can do as easily or as well as you. Talked about this already. Riches and niches, talked about this already. Long and short, that's activation and brand building. We can take risk as small business. Pretty much your brand should reflect who you are, the owner. Use your story, differentiation and distinction. Both of them are important. Wise business owners discern what's useful and what's distracting. So this is as much a skill as implementing what tools you're going to pick. Steve Jobs said people think focus means saying yes to that thing you've got to focus on. Actually, it means saying no to the 100 of other good ideas. And then closing, the poor guy on the deserted desert island that gets this in the bottle. We have been trying to reach you regarding your car's extended warranty. Enough. Sick and tired of those calls. Thank you. I know that's been long. I've tried to cover it in a quick point by point. Send me an email for the slides. Thank you so much.